inspiration from you.
Okay, well, why are you asking for him? The spokesperson? No.
Very good.
Saturn V. Yeah, tonight is a reminder to us all that we once had very ambitious sights set high in the universe. Tonight is the 50th anniversary of the launch. And if you're going to celebrate that, you do that at Kennedy Space Center, where we are right now. And we're beneath the 5 great, mighty rocket engines of the Saturn V. So there are people who've forgotten this, or who have not embraced it for what kind of mission statement that represented for a nation. A nation who at the time was very distracted. There was a civil rights movement. We had a hot war in Southeast Asia, a Cold War with the Soviet Union, civil unrest. Yet we were going to the moon. And landing on the moon didn't only bring Americans together, it brought the world together.
Apollo service month.
Hey, it's 50 years since the launch of Apollo 11. I was a little kid at the time, so I was 5 years old when all this happened. But for our country, it's like a really big deal to send, people, 3 men to the moon for the first time and get them all the way back. It's a tremendous accomplishment. I hope I get to see people go to Mars someday. I think if we really focused on it and gave NASA the necessary resources to do it, something we could do in, maybe 20 years from now. It's going to be hard, but it's really a worthwhile thing for our country.
Why?
Why? Because of what we get out of it. I mean, it's by doing hard things that we advance science and engineering, technology. We invent things, we innovate. It's only when we're trying to do stuff really hard, and sending a person to Mars is a challenging thing to do. And I promise you, it will drive our economy for decades if we try to do this.
He would be proud that we're honoring the teams of people who came together to make Apollo 11 and the other Apollo missions a success. I'm sure that he would have had something very meaningful to talk about, and he actually did that on the flight as well. So
we'd like to give a special thanks to all those Americans who built those spacecraft, who did the construction, the design, the test, and put their heart and all their abilities into those craft.
Base with the People's Moon Celebration and in partnership with the New York Department.
But on the lunar module, there was just one ascent engine, and that one had to work perfectly, or there were 2 dead men on the moon. And so that's what was primarily on my mind at the time.
I was only in the Navy about 7 months. 7 months before that, I wasn't even allowed to do it.
If we want to go back into space and beyond Earth permanently, we've got to build the infrastructure. And I think the infrastructure to get to Mars starts at the moon, and we have to do some serious things at the moon, in terms of learning whether we can get resources from the moon, learning whether we can get propellant from the moon, and I think that'll serve as a basis for ultimately going to Mars to stay, because I think that's what we need to do, is have a permanent presence on Mars.
An American achievement. But fewer people, I think, know that there were, speaking to 2 of the engineers who worked at this during Apollo